Whoops, did we stop? Okay, sorry, just want to make sure we didn't mess anything up. At this point in my career, I am a mom and I'm a coach and I still perform. But mostly my passion is in being able to pass on to you guys the things that, oh my God, I had to walk into a million walls and fall into a million potholes to learn over decades, and hoping to be able to give this stuff to you guys so you don't have to walk into walls and holes and potholes and suffer uh, unnecessarily. So I am really glad to be able to give this stuff to you so that you can understand that there's really a different way to train. You know, sometimes traditional training works well for some singers, and for a lot of singers, me included, it really failed me in many, many ways. And I had to go outside of the traditional way in order to become way more successful. So I hope that you are approaching all of this new stuff that we're going through from the mindset work yesterday all through the rest of the week with a really open mind and interested in curiosity and experimental mindset of seeing, hey, maybe this could work for me too. So great to see you guys here. Some of you I see who were here yesterday, some of you who weren't. If this is your first day joining us, say hi in the chat. And make sure you do watch the replay from yesterday. It's super important stuff that we went over on mind-body connection that you really, really, really need to know. So curious, who did their homework last night? I saw a lot of you celebrating accountability, and I came in and celebrated you in the group too. So who did their meditation last night? Tell me in the chat. Who did it? Who did it? Melissa did it. Who did it? Jim did it. Yep. Who else? Who did your meditation? Tyvee, yes. Katerina, Heidi, Jessica, Lance. Did you do your meditation? I hope you did. Okay. Who did it? Not just last night, but who's already done it twice? Who's already done it today? Put 2 in the chat if you've already done it twice. Once yesterday and once today. Curious. All right. Nice. Tyvee celebrating you. Gina Marie celebrating you. And Katerina, nice. Awesome, guys. Okay. Now, who did the thought exercise? Tell me in the chat. Put TE in the chat if you did your thought exercise. Curious who dove into that. Melissa did it. Sammy did it. Jim did it. Darlene did it. Oh my God. Becca, amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh. You guys, you're on fire. You know, it's like accountability to the change you want to see. I could give a singer the best tools in the world, and if they don't use them, nothing gonna change, right? So really celebrating you guys for accountability, doing the meditation, diving into the thought exercise. Curious if anybody got some awareness in the thought exercise that you were like, whoa, didn't even realize all that was going on up there. Did anybody have that experience where you just started to become aware of your thinking patterns and the stories that have been going on? And you're just like, okay, like good to know, right? Yeah, Katerina, I see you in the chat. You know, this is the thing, guys, because we cannot change what we are not aware of, whether it's a mindset thing, whether it's a technique thing. So it's really important to start to peel away these layers. And I know for a lot of singers, it can be a little bit maybe uncomfortable at first or scary at first to think about getting clear on our motivations, getting clear on what's going on between our ears, you know, in our mind, because we think, oh gosh, if I open this door, it's just all gonna spill out, and we can get into that place where then we don't engage in the thought exercises, we don't engage in the discovery work that once we start to understand becomes the bridge between what we are doing in our meditations subconsciously and what we are doing when we actually go into technique training and in the moment of singing and in the moment of practice. So the thought exercises are a bridge, and they're a really important bridge because it helps you to take that which is in the subconscious and bring it to the forefront of your conscious mind so that you can start to address things in a practical way as they come up for you in the moment of singing. So they're really important. If you did not do the thought exercise last night, or if you for some reason didn't have the link or you didn't do it or whatever, just message Ashley in the chat and she'll make sure to give you the homework link from yesterday. Okay, so I'm really celebrating you guys for your commitment and your accountability to this process. You know, those who really get results in this process are showing up in the following way. They're showing up committed, meaning They're showing up to every class. They're watching the replay every night if they weren't able to come on live. They're doing the homework after every session. They are coachable, meaning you understand that you don't know what you don't know. And being open and willing to, like I said yesterday, empty your cup, be coachable, and do something different. Because if we just do the same things in the same ways, we're going to keep getting the same results. And you are all here because you want more. You want to break through. You want to get higher paying gigs, more elite gigs, records that people listen to, right? So you're willing to show up and be coachable and do something different. Those who are getting big results are resourceful. So it might not be easy to get here every day. You have work obligations, you have family obligations, maybe health stuff might come up. Okay, first of all, celebrating Amy right now. Amy's got COVID and she's here. Okay, that's resourceful because she understands what she gets out of this community that she gets to give back. So, Amy, I hope you're at least lying down and have the computer next to you. So life is in session. It's always going to be in session. Health stuff, family stuff, work stuff, whatever it is. Those who get results are resourceful to get here, no matter what. It's a week of your life. Get creative, guys. It's 90 minutes of your day, just 1 week of your life to get the tools that can change everything for something that you really, really care about. And so being resourceful to show up even when life is happening and to condition that muscle of showing up for your passion, showing up for your talent, showing up for your dreams, even when life is happening, because this is what it takes to build the kind of career that you really want. And so I celebrate all of you for being here and for embodying those things and being here for day 2 today. Now, a reminder that we have a scholarship contest going on. So if you attend every live training this week, and by the way, we know who's here and we know somebody comes on for 5 minutes and then they leave. So if you attend and stay for every session this week, you will get to throw your hat in the ring to win a huge surprise amount of scholarship that we're announcing on Saturday, a scholarship towards our flagship intensive training program. But like I said, to be eligible, you have to attend every day of the workshops live. And then at the end of the week, we'll have, for those of you who are interested, a way to apply for that scholarship, throw your hat in the ring, and we'll announce the winner live on Sunday. So that's the deal with the scholarship. Today, we are going to be talking about some game-changing innovations for your technique. And in order to have that so that you can really up your impact for all the reasons we were talking about yesterday. Most specifically today, innovations in understanding and how you understand and implement your breath support. So we have a lot to get to, but first, just a reminder of some housekeeping. Reminder that replay links are sent each day via email and also posted in the Facebook group after each session. The homework is just posted in the Facebook group. So those links I will give you in the chat at the end of the session, and also they're in the Facebook group. We don't email them. Important, guys, that the replays, they disappear after the workshop is over at the end of this week, after midnight on Sunday night. So if you have to miss or be late or leave early, make sure you download the replays right away. Don't put it off because they do go away on Sunday night. For today, I'm sure a lot of you will have a lot of questions about what I'm coaching you on. We're going to train first and then answer questions. So just, jot them down. And we also going to have a separate, dedicated Q&A day also towards the end of the week also. So train first, then answer questions. Like I said yesterday, have a journal, take notes with. You can jot down your questions for later. Most of the time, you'll have a question, and then 10 minutes later, I'll answer it in what I'm coaching. So that's how it goes. There will be times that I ask for volunteers who want to be guinea pig to sing and coach on some of the technique stuff and breath support stuff we're going to do today. So we're going to use the raised hand function, which is down. Well, if you're on a desktop or laptop, it's down at the bottom. On a phone, I think you have to swipe to find it, but you can figure that out. So use raised hands functions if you do want to volunteer. And most important reminder, this is a safe space. Those who volunteer to share and to sing, we encourage vulnerability, we encourage bravery. I have a 0 tolerance policy for meanness, criticism, judgment in the chat. I will kick you to the curb if you are not in here raising the tide for all boats, being supportive, because you know that when you get up, you want to have that same support given back to you. So really maintain that high value of this being the safe space. Okay. Also, if you do want to sing in class today, if you do want to volunteer in some of the stuff we're doing, make sure that your original sound is switched to on, meaning at the top of your toolbar, if you're on a desktop or a laptop, you will see original sound for musicians. If you set up your settings like we gave you instructions to do before the workshop, you'll see that it's switched to off. You just want to make sure you flip it to on. If you don't see that up there, it means you have not enabled original sound, and it's not going to be a good day for you to sing in class today. Okay, that said, who's ready to create some mastery around innovations in your breath support? Woohoo! This is my favorite thing to coach on, because there's just a lot of bad information around there around breath support. Just saying. And I really want to be able to, blow your mind on some of these concepts so that you can understand the things that you can do to up level to create that kind of impact that we were talking about yesterday. So I am going to give you all of the concepts up front here. I want to train you on the whole picture, because a lot of you probably do have gaps in your technique around your understanding of support that you probably don't realize even that are sabotaging your impact. And so we'll get into that. We'll have some of you come up here and be guinea pigs and coach on it. And the reason why I'm doing this on day 2 is because breath support is everything. I mean, why is breath support so important? Because 90% of the issues that you are experiencing that are preventing you from accessing 100% of the potential in your voice and making that higher level impact are actually breath support issues. And 90% of the issues that make you feel insecure around your voice are also actually breath support issues. Tension, breath support issue. Stamina, high notes, breath support issue. Agility, breath support issue. Mixing, transitioning between registers, passaggio issues, breath support issue. Pitch issues, flat or sharp. Yes, so much of the time when we fix the support, the pitch issues go away. Strain, inconsistency, breath support. Confidence issues, breath support issue. Because then the career issue, you have career issues if you have confidence issues, and now you're not putting yourself out there. And now we got real problems if you're trying to do this professionally. Okay. So all of these things that you think are the problems, strain, tension, inconsistency, pitchiness, everything we just named, they're not the real problem. They're the symptoms of the real problem, which most of the time is inefficient breath support. So let's get down to the foundations, because if you're going to learn how to make a bigger impact, then we got to address this pronto. So I want to go back to the foundations here for a minute. And before you roll your eyes, because I know a lot of you have a lot of training and you're like, Arden, I've been taught breath support for years. I already know the fundamentals. Remember what we said yesterday. Those that are getting the biggest breakthroughs here, and what I said this morning, just now, are showing up coachable and understanding that you don't know what you don't know. So empty your cup and approach this from the beginner's mind. Foundations, okay? Let's just have a review. So let's talk about the anatomy of support for a second, okay? Where's your diaphragm? Anybody know? Where's your diaphragm? I can see you guys in the chat. Where's your diaphragm? Yeah, okay. So diaphragm is here, okay? And the way that the diaphragm functions, because it's super important for breath support, but there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about what the diaphragm does and how we access it and what we need to do for it, that get singers twisted up into what they're doing actually in their support. So if we think about diaphragm is here and it lives under your rib cage, okay? It looks like a plunger. It's a dome-shaped muscle, okay? And it's what separates your thorax, which is where your lungs are, from your viscus, which is where your intestines and your liver and your kidneys and all the everything else is here, okay? So if you were to literally saw me in half and take off my top and look down, you'd see this dome-shaped diaphragm that sits right under my rib cage, okay? And when you inhale, this dome-shaped diaphragm inverts to become a bowl like this to make room for the lungs that are filling with air. And it is this bowl-shaped diaphragm as it shifts back to becoming a dome that slowly moves the air out of the lungs that vibrates your vocal cords, whether you're for talking or singing like that. That's the function of the diaphragm, is to kind of go like this and slowly move the air up out of, like pushing up from below, moving the air out of the lungs so that you can have sound. Okay. So the thing about the diaphragm is that we don't have a lot of nerve endings in it. It's very difficult to feel your diaphragm. And so where this gets singers into trouble is that, yes, your diaphragm is important for sound, but it's very hard to feel it and be able to manipulate it. And yet most voice teachers will tell you, use your diaphragm. How many of you have heard that? Tell me in the chat. How many of you have been told, use your diaphragm? Okay. Yeah. And like, this just like annoys me to no end, because when you tell a singer, use your diaphragm, but we don't have a lot of nerve endings in there. We can't really feel what's going on. And now the singer is all trying to like manipulate and get all up in there, and it's like not effective at all. Okay. So yes, diaphragm is important, but I don't want you to fixate on it, focus on it, whatever. Okay. What is important are the muscles that connect to it, that affect what happens to it. So if you think about this plunger, this dome-shaped diaphragm, it tucks in, as I disappear from my background, it tucks in to all of the muscles that are in the abdomen and the torso here, okay? So, and these muscles, so rectus abdominis, otherwise known as six-pack muscles, transverse abdominis, otherwise known as like up in like lower abdominals, and obliques, you know, the side muscles. Like any of you've been watching the Olympics and you see the swimmers and they're like so cut, right? Obliques, these, and lower mid back muscles. Okay. So your diaphragm tucks in to all of these muscles and it connects to them. And how you use these muscles directly affects what happens to the diaphragm. And so when we're talking about breath support, what we're really talking about are the muscles that support your diaphragm to stay low and move slow. Because if you don't have that, then this diaphragm that has inverted to become a bowl, when you breathe in with air, it pops up really quickly and it pushes way too much air out of the lungs, which then means that it floods the vocal cords. And now you're out of breath, because before you want to be, because you're leaking air, you're pushing way too much air, you're out of breath. The sound is airy. You don't want that airy sound. So now other parts of the body, namely neck, jaw, and tongue, are coming in to try to compensate for that lack of support down there, to create a dam to prevent this massive flood of air that's coming out. And now you have tension and you have strain. Okay. So what I really want you to get, first of all, is like concept number one, write this down. Breath support is about the muscles around the diaphragm that support the diaphragm to stay low and move slow. Okay, because it is that slow and steady and consistent gradual rising of the diaphragm that creates and moves the exact right volume of air and velocity of air, meaning the exact right amount of air and speed of air, to create this beautiful, steady, narrow, focused, steady stream of air that vibrates your cords the most efficiently. And if you think about, you know, like the analogy I like to give is, if you think of a flag in a nice, gentle, steady breeze, you have like a nice oscillation of the flag. A flag in a hurricane, it doesn't, you know, and most of you without proper breath support, it's just this hurricane, this flood of air, and it's too much for the cords. Body recognizes that, wants to compensate in other ways and grabs and tenses, and now the dominoes have fallen and the sound isn't good, it doesn't feel good, you feel insecure, et cetera, et cetera. So just getting that when we talk about breath support, what we're talking about are all these muscles I just spoke of around the diaphragm, supporting the diaphragm to stay low and move slow for the most optimum stream of air. Okay. Now, I want you to get acquainted with some of these muscles. So what I want you to do is first put your hand right here, like where your ribs part. So you guys, I've worn my yoga clothes today, so you can like really see what's going on here. So where your ribs part, put your palm of your hand right in that curve. And I want you to like imagine that a dog is making a lot of noise, and I want you to shush the dog, and I want you to feel these muscles here. So I'm not going to put my hand so you can see, but watch these muscles. You see these go like this. Put your hand there and shush the dog and feel the muscles. See what you feel when you do that. Okay. So those are your rectus abdominis. That's your six pack. Okay. Those are one group that are involved. Now let's go down to transverse abdominis. Look, transverse abdominis, low, right above your pubic bone. Same thing. Shush the dog and feel what happens under your palm. Okay. Just really get acquainted with each of these muscle groups. Okay. Yeah, I love it. I see all you guys doing it. You're like so on it. This is awesome. Okay, good. Now, find your obliques. Put your hands on your obliques, okay? There you go. And same thing. Shush the dog and feel what happens under your hand. Get acquainted with all of these muscle groups here as well, okay? You feel these muscles start to fire. Now, last bit, find your back muscles, okay? And from like right below your, what's it called? Your ribs, and right above your hip bone, that soft spot, take the palm of your hand, put it right there, and shush the dog. And you'll feel it back there too. It feels a little different in your back, but you'll feel those muscles go like boop, 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 as you shush the dog. Okay. So those are all of the muscles that every time that you fire those muscles, what happens is that you move the diaphragm. You cause the diaphragm to move a little bit and push air out of the lungs. But the thing that I want to be really, really specific about here, okay, is that there are two different ways to engage any muscle group, okay? You can contract the muscles, like I'm contracting the muscles in my hand right now, or you can flex your muscles, right? I'm flexing, I'm contracting. You're engaging the muscles both times, but there is a difference between flex and contract. And the number one thing that gets singers in trouble when they don't understand it, whether it was just they never were taught it or whatever reason, is if you are contracting the muscles of the support or instead of flexing. We do not want to contract those muscles. So what that looks like is you snapping in and pulling these muscles in. So if I'm gonna like shush the dog and I contract, it looks like this. We do not want to do that, okay? We want to flex the muscles instead. So we want to lean out. So flexing looks like this. Instead of okay? And you can feel that if you put your palms on your obliques. And so I tend to like the obliques because you can really feel if these muscles, if these muscles fire, everything else is firing the way you want. So if you put your hands on your obliques, and I want you to flex and shush into your palm, put that shush right there. And you can watch if you see these muscles. Like you see that they're going like this, and you can feel that. So do a few shushes and notice, are you flexing or are you contracting? Okay. And start to notice, because this is really, really key. The direction of the energy of the engagement of the muscles really matters. And here is why. Because remember, we said your job is to keep the diaphragm low and moving slow. If it goes up too fast and too much, it pushes way too much air out, which is why you're out of breath. The sound is airy, you have tension and all those things, okay? So if you contract, you are pushing the diaphragm up way too fast and way too much, and it pushes way too much air out. Versus if you flex, I mean, you can see me, I'm going like this. What it does is it just, this diaphragm that was a bowl, right? Because I breathed in, it just moves it a little bit, just a little bit. If I contract, it moves it too much. And okay, so most of you have spent your singing life just not knowing any better, contracting as you sing through a phrase, which is why you lose the air, you feel less confident, the sound is airy, it's harder to get into your higher voice, and the support just isn't there for you. So number one thing I want you to play with, as you move forward later today and tomorrow with these ideas, is this idea of flex, okay, instead of contract. So that is concept number 2 for today. Flex the muscles of support, do not contract, okay? Now, let's pause on this for a second. And I want to talk about the inhale, okay? So the inhale is not to be confused with breath support, okay? So there's breathing, which is the inhale, and then there's breath support, which is what we were just talking about, which is what happens when you're phonating, when you're in the phrase. But the two things are linked, because if we don't have an efficient inhale, then it makes doing all this that we just talked about in the flex very difficult when you're in this, in the phrase, okay? So the thing, first of all, to understand is that your lungs are mostly in your back. So this is just anatomy, guys. Like this is just anatomy. If you think about where are your lungs, well, where are your ribs? Your ribs are there to protect your lungs. So your ribs stop here in front, but they go all the way down in the back. Why? Because you have more lung in the back, because your lungs go bigger and longer in the back. So the majority of your lungs are in your back, okay? Not in your belly. And I know that's like, well, duh, Arden, of course, like, no lungs in your belly. Yeah. But how many of you have been taught to belly breathe? It astounds me that, like, because this is just common sense, right? Like, ain't no lungs in your belly. And yet, I mean, listen, you guys, I'm being facetious. I get why teachers talk about belly breathing, because what they don't want is they don't want you putting the breath up here in your shoulders. They don't want this. So, but the problem with telling a singer, to belly breathe is that now you have focused here, and odds are you are trying to put the air and the inhale down in your belly, which means that you're probably trying to push out in your belly to kind of do this. But I didn't get very much air when I did that. Yeah, my belly inflated because I was like pushing down, but I still didn't get much air. Why? Because I'm totally focusing on the wrong part of my body. So this idea of focusing that your lungs are in your back and allowing the inhale to feel that part of your body is like so essential. So in order to feel this, what I want you guys to do is we're going to do a little ragdoll exercise, okay? And so what that is, and Ashley, tell me if I go off, but I think I'll be okay, is I want you to just dangle. So you're just going to hang, and you're going to have like a little bend in your knees, and you're going to let your head hang heavy, and you're going to let your arms dangle, like let your head pull out your neck, let your arms pull out your shoulders. And I just want you to send a breath, a nose breath, into your back. So imagine that the nose breath is going right into your back and expanding up towards the ceiling. And you can watch what happens when I direct my nose breath into my back. Watch my back. You guys see all that expansion? And that's me directing my inhale into my back. So do your ragdoll, let your head hang heavy, and sorry, I have hair in my mouth. Do a few nose breaths and start to feel what it feels like to really send the air into that massive expanse of lungs that you have in your back. And it's really easy to feel when you're in this, folded over ragdoll position. Like you can really feel your back expanding up towards the ceiling as you do a few of these nose breaths. So now roll up, okay? And as you roll up, come back to, just come back to neutral. Feel your shoulder blades slide down your back, and just find your open heart space again. And now, even though you're standing upright, another nose breath and send it into the back in the same way you did when you were ragdolled. And you will feel so much more expansion and everything here. You don't need to focus don't put the breath in your belly. We miss the point if we're doing that. Okay. And so the the expansion that you feel, though, we want to make sure that we're not over breathing. And so what that looks like, you guys, is if you feel the breath come above your armpits, then you're over breathing. And so what that looks like is this. If I'm over breathing, like, do you see how it all went like up here? Okay. So like, I'm going to stop. I have enough air. I'm going to stop when I feel it come to right about here. I'm going to put my arms here so you can really see. Like, that's it. I could keep going, but now I'm all up here, and that creates tension. That's over breathing. We don't want it. Okay. This is a life breath, you guys. This is how we breathe, like, all day, every day. We don't do this. You'd pass out if you every day were like, it's like, and yet we think this is good for singing. Why? Right? So a life breath into your back. Don't let it come above your armpits. It's enough just in your back body. Okay. So that's concept number 3. No lungs in your back. I'm sorry, no lungs in your belly. Lungs are in your back. Start paying attention to your back body breath. Okay. Now, the next most important concept for today about the inhale is also that the inhale is a release. The inhale is a release. So how many times have you guys heard a voice teacher or anybody else say, take a breath, right? Take a breath. And so, okay, I'm going to take the breath. And what do? And now look where I am. I'm all up here. It didn't go on my back. I'm all tight. I'm all tense. And guess what? I didn't get as much air as I could have, because take a breath implies a doing, a grabbing, a contracting, a taking. And in doing that, we contract all the muscles in the body because we think that we are helping the body bring air in. But in reality, what we're doing is we're actually closing the space that this air needs to come in. And so we get less of it. You guys, we don't have to take a breath. The like laws of physics just support that. So you remember high school physics, the law of equilibrium. Anybody remember high school, like 11th grade physics, law of equilibrium? The pressure of a gas wants to equalize on either side of a membrane. So if the air pressure on this side of the membrane is greater than the air pressure on this side of the membrane, it wants to equalize, osmosis, right? So when the air pressure inside your body is different than the air pressure outside your body, because it's time to breathe, you do not have to help the air come into your body. You do not have to take a breath. All you have to do is release, open up, and the air will come in. It wants to come in. It is the law of physics. It's created a vacuum. The pressure inside is different than the pressure outside. When we open the lid, so to speak, the air wants to come in. Okay. So getting that you don't have to help air come into your body. What you do have to do is release to create the room for that air to come in. So the inhale is a release, meaning release your jaw, release your throat, release your ribs, release your belly. And then I get a ton of air because there's nothing impeding. If I think take a breath, what am I going to do? And this closes up and this closes up, and you get that sound, that and what that sound is, guys, that's wind resistance, because the channel has gotten smaller. So you're getting less air, even though you're trying to help the air come in and you think that you're trying to help. It's counterintuitive. So that is the next concept, which is concept number 4, which is the inhale is a release. Do not take a breath. Let the breath come in. And that also becomes really important when you're singing, to understand that all of the muscles of support, which I call the container of support here, when we're flexing into that, you got to release that. You got to release that support on the inhale. So just making sure that you understand that when you're in the phrase, you're on that support. And then when I release the note and I let the air come in, I release that support. Okay. Okay. So now let's put all these concepts together. Okay. You release on the inhale, then you flex the support, and we're just going to do it on a hiss. I'm like really breaking this down for you guys right now because I want you to go back to the basics, because I really want you to understand what your body is doing. Because most people think that breath support is this like mystified thing. No, it's not. It's literally just anatomy and physics. And once you understand that, then it's like, okay, then now let me see how I can create this scenario in my body to make it work that way. Okay. So first things first, we're going to use a hiss. Okay. And I really want you to understand that when we're talking about the container of support, like I was just talking about, we're not just talking about the muscles that are going on here. We're also talking about the ribs, the intercostals between the ribs, and what happens and how we use the ribs. So these heavy bones of ribs, they can either work for you in maintaining the container of support, or they can work against you and sabotage, compromise your container of support. And so we want to make sure that the ribs are they're just not involved at all. They're just buoyant and they're just out of the picture. Because if they're not, then these heavy bones of ribs, when you go to sing or do a lip trill or whatever, if they collapse down, now what they're doing is, yeah, like you hear how airy my sound is there? Like, because what happened? The heavy bones of ribs collapsed, and this diaphragm that had gone here is now pushed up as the ribs come in. It pushes it up, which pushes too much air out of your lungs. Now the sound is airy. It doesn't feel supported. You have trouble with your high notes. You go into tension, like all the dominoes fall. Okay. So what we want to understand is that your job on the inhale is to release. So you feel that back body breath where everything just, the ribs just nicely fly out. Now, when I go to make sound, I'm not going to collapse these ribs. Do you notice how I'm talking to you right now and my ribs are still buoyant? I didn't go back here. I didn't go back there. Okay. That is the only thing that we want the ribs to do, is to resist that feeling of folding back in. And that takes a little bit of practice if you're not used to it. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take one hand and I want you to wrap it around your lat, like around your back, ladies, kind of under your bra line. Okay. One hand around your lat and the other hand on your oblique. Okay. And you're going to do a hiss. And as you hiss, your job is to like, oh, I my God, I've like skipped over the most important concept here. Okay. Which is, if you imagine that you have like either a strapless bra, like one size too big, or like guys, like there's a belt around your ribs and it's buckled like one size too big, right? If you breathe in, that bra is not going to fall down. You've like filled out the space. The belt is not going to fall down. Like I'm talking to you right now and I'm still holding this space. So if I do that, hi, or 1, 2, 3. Well, that strapless bra that's hooked one size too big, or that belt that's one hook too big, it's going to fall right down. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to put one hand here and one hand here. And I want you to hiss into your hands so as to not let that bra or belt fall down when you hiss. So it's going to look like this or feel like this. I'm going to do it without my hands so you can see. Like, do you see my flex when I do that? You can see the muscles here, you can see it here, and these stay nice and buoyant, as opposed to so that's the inefficient way. So put your hands on you and use that to monitor a few hisses to see, are you keeping the bra from falling down? Are you maintaining the integrity of this container as you hiss? Or are you sabotaging and collapsing the integrity of the container, either by ribs falling in or by belly snapping in, instead of feeling that gentle flex so that the bra doesn't fall down? So try a little bit and see what this feels like in your own body. Okay. Because we really want to make sure that we understand what apoyo really is. And everything that I'm telling you right now is leading up to this fifth concept, which is apoyo. So what apoyo means is lean in Italian. Those of you who speak Spanish, apoyar, same root, apoyo, apoyar, to lean, okay? So what we want to do is we want to feel that as we move air, whether it's on a hiss, whether it's singing on a phrase, whether it's in a lip trill, that we are leaning into this container, flexing into this container over a duration on that lower support, and not letting that container, not letting that lean turn into a contract for all the reasons that I just explained, okay? So the most important thing about apoyo is understanding that feeling of out and down. It's the opposite of what I think a lot of singers feel, which is in and up when they sing, okay? Out and down. And that consistency in that apoyo is what stabilizes the diaphragm to move slow, to stay low for as long as possible and move slow so that it doesn't push out too much air and then set off the domino effects of all of the problems that most singers have, okay? So the one point that I really want to hit here about apoyo is it is the consistency that matters. So when we think about flexing through a phrase, you might have 5 different notes, changing positions or changing syllables up and down the scale, and that feeling of consistent out and down flex doesn't stop. We don't change support when we change pitch. That feeling is consistent. That consistency is so important. And we also don't want to give it all away at the beginning, meaning like you go to the maximum flex at the very beginning and you still have like 3 bars to sing, but you got nowhere to go. Like that's not going to feel good or supportive either, right? So understanding that it's like the gentle increase and consistency over the course of the whole phrase, of that lean over the course of the whole phrase, that is what is supportive. Because if you think about things that support things, the analogy I like to give is like the legs of a table. They support the table. They're not going anywhere. They're solid, they're consistent, they're there. You know what I'm saying? As they're not going like this. And yet a lot of singers end up doing this. Me, like that's not consistent. That's not supportive, right? Versus understanding that we flex, we release into the container.
Your original sound, Arden.
Oh, original sound, sorry. See, that's what happens when you forget your original sound. So note, I'm going to be changing pitch. I'm going to go all over the scale, and you'll notice how consistent my body is in this feeling of flow through. Me. Wait, let me do it so that you can see. Me. Like, and now I release it. Okay. So this is something that, it takes conditioning. It takes consistency. And it might be a little bit different than what you're used to feeling, but that's okay. Because if you want to get different results and better results, then you don't want it to feel the same way, because that's just what's keeping you hitting the ceiling on all this, okay? The other thing to understand about apoyo and about your consistent flex and lean is that the off is just as important as the on. So the on meaning when I engage for the phrase I'm singing, and then the off being release that support when you inhale, just like I was saying before. Make sure that you are not continuing to hold that when you go to inhale. Let it go. A couple little pitfalls here, just to be aware of. The focus of support is not the middle. I don't want you focusing on the middle around your belly button. I want you to focus on what's happening around that, okay? Because if you focus here, you're just going to go back to that feeling of trying to push your belly button out, and that's not what this is about. I like to feel like the feeling of my obliques. That to me, if I focus on what's going on in my obliques here, like I feel like I can get this when these fire, everything else tends to fire. So you can do a few hisses into your palm that way. You can literally see this here. Same thing if you put your hand here and you hiss into your palm. Watch these. These are going flex, flex, flex every time I do a hiss. So if I'm singing a phrase, instead of a short little burst, I'm just leaning into that. Me. It doesn't go. Okay, so I know it's something like that some of you might have to get used to, right? But again, it's what creates ultimate consistency because it's based in science and anatomy, physics and anatomy. So let me see. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything here. Let me look at my notes. Oh, something else. Okay. You can go too far with pushing, with feeling like you need to push your ribs out. So that sensation that I was talking about not letting the strapless bra or the belt like fall down. If the ribs, when you're about 60 to 70% of the way through your air, your ribs will ever so gently and ever so slightly start to gently fold in. But that's something that we want to prevent and resist for as long as possible. But if you get to that place where you're like, like it feels like you're like, like you can go too far with it. So just know that if you have a really long phrase, that you will start to gently see. I mean, you can watch me as I'm just gonna sing till the end of my breath, and you'll see that by the end, I'm not as big as I was before, but you're gonna see that doesn't happen until like the end. So I'll just do some scales. Me. So did you see how like at the end I really let it go and collapsed? But I wasn't here. Me. Like that's what we want to prevent. We want to prevent the immediate grabbing and contracting and collapse of the ribs. So that's just something to be aware of as you're practicing this. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is you felt the sensation on a hiss, and now we're gonna put it on a vibration, and we're gonna do it on some lip trills. So if you're not familiar with a lip trill, it's just like propeller lips. Lip trill, okay? And it brings me to concept number 7, which is like so key. And you guys, I wasn't taught this until, I don't know. I mean, easily like 10 or 15 years into my training. And I was like, how did nobody teach me this? Which is support before you phonate. Support before you phonate. This is game changing, guys, and it's key. And here's why. If you don't start your flex before you phonate, then your body is playing catch up. You've already started to sing, but you don't have the support that you need. And so then all of a sudden your body kicks in with whatever support you think you understand, and it's too late. And so now you're in the tension, you're in the airiness, you're in the push. And so it's the idea of don't sing your way into your support. Support your way into your sing. So if I support before I phonate, what it means is I'm starting my flex like a second before I actually do the first note. So I'm going to do this and I'm going to be like really obvious about it. So I want you to watch my body, and I want you to watch when you see me flex versus when you hear the first note that I sing. And you will see this go like a quarter note before. You'll see this go early. Watch it. Me. Like you can really see my obliques fire. You see how that goes first? That's the idea of support before you phonate. Because when that happens, then all of the other compensatory mechanisms that start to show up to compensate for the fact that you're not in the support you need to be in don't happen. So when you don't support before you phonate, other parts of your body are going to try to come in to compensate so that your body feels supported to make that sound, namely your neck or your jaw or your tongue. And this is where the tension comes from, because you've started to sing before you're fully supported. And so now your neck is like, oh, I'll help you. And now it starts to grab. And now you're in the tension, and it's not going to help you feel good or sound good in the phrase. Okay. So if you're experiencing tension, likely culprit is that you have started to sing before you've supported. Versus if I support first before I phonate, now my body feels really good and I can stay nice and open, and I'm not getting stuck in the tension that otherwise would have sabotaged me. Okay, so support before you phonate. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do some lip trills, and I want you to really come back to the appoggio, the idea of that gentle flex through. So you're going to breathe into that release breath. You're going to feel that nice big expansion of your ribs, and then you're going to lean into that nice big expanded container that you created, and you're going to do where's my sound? You're going to do a 1-5-1 on a lip trill, which is, so you're going to go, okay, so what that feels like in your body, if you watch me, I'm going to stay nice and wide here. I'm going to engage these, and I'm going to flow through that flex over the course of the lip trill. What you don't want to do is this. Your lips won't trill. They won't trill because it's not the right volume and velocity of air necessary to vibrate your lips. And the reason that lip trills are absolutely the best tool for training support is because the vibration of your lips approximates the vibration of your vocal cords. And so if you're being inefficient about your air, your lips will tell you right away. If I collapse my ribs, I can't do a lip trill. It's too much air. It's the flag in a hurricane. It can't oscillate. It's too much. Okay. So if you're using lip trills to train your support, which I suggest you do, they will tell you right away what's going on. So if you can't, it's not, don't focus on your lips. The problem is not your lips. The problem is the air that's being sent through them is not the right volume and velocity in order to vibrate them the way it needs to be. Okay, so come back here and put the lip trill, don't focus on your lips. Put the lip trill down into your hands like this, into your body, and flow through. There, that's how we want to do it, you guys. And so when you're doing a lip trill, I want you to visualize the idea of a single send of support. So that brings me to concept number 8, which I alluded to a little bit earlier on, but which is this idea of do not change support when you change pitch. The consistency matters. Okay, so you're going from 1 to 5 to 1, and your brain is going to tell you, uh-oh, I'm going higher. I need to push more air. No, you don't. It does not take a lot of air to sing. In fact, the better singers are the ones who know how to manage less air, more tone, less air. Okay, so if you notice that as you rise in pitch, you lose the lip trill. That's because something has changed in your support that has compromised the steady stream of the exact right volume and velocity of air passing through both cords and lips. Okay, so what you'll notice is that your job when it comes to support is consistency, right? Like talk about like the table, right? The legs of the table are not going like this. If you're going, watch my ribs. That's this. Be here. Stable, okay? Like if you think of like a surfer, right? Those of you on the West Coast who surf, right? Like a steady wave. If a surfer has a steady wave, they're going to ride that sucker all the way to the beach. But if the wave is jerky, it's going to jerk the surfer off the board and he's not going to make it to the beach. All of this that I'm teaching you is to help you create a steady, stable wave of air. And like the surfer, if you have a steady wave, that surfer could be doing flip-flops on his board and he will make it to the beach if he has a steady wave. Just like I could be bouncing all around. It's not going to matter because I'm steady and stable here, okay? So really monitor, am I changing this support when I change pitch, Or even though I'm going up and down, I'm not attaching to the up and down. I see it like a train on a track, and this is the train on the track, and that's what I'm creating, okay? So a little bit of just pitfalls with lip trills. Recognize that you don't start the lip trill up here. Don't focus on your lips. Your gas pedal is down here. This flex, this engagement, that's what's starting your trill, okay? The other thing that can be just a help for some people is to think B instead of P. So don't think pff, pff, because look what that does to me. Pff, because P is a plosive and it moves way too much air. Think B. Okay? If you're having trouble just kind of getting started, I want you to visualize that you have lots of little bees floating around down here, and your job is to kind of tap one of those bees and float it out, okay? So it's all down here. Now, I know I'm giving you guys a ton of information, but the whole idea of this is to be able to go back and refer to the video and training, and you can stop and start it as much as you want. So we're gonna add syllables now. So we've got lip trill. So first we did hiss, and we felt what the hiss feels like. Then we took that absolute same sensation of the hiss and we put it on the lip trill and we started changing pitch. Now we're gonna add syllables, but do not change how you're using your body, okay? This is the thing, you guys. This is where the most high-level singers get sabotaged. Your mind is gonna wanna convince your body, uh-oh, now we're singing. We got syllables. Now we got to sound good. And all the things that you discovered in your thought exercise and all the ways that you don't want to fail are going to come rushing back in, because now we're on syllables and we're singing. And all the habits of make and force and do and manipulate and control so that you sound good and you don't fail, that have sabotaged your consistency of your support in the past, are going to try to come rushing back. And so we are not singing right now. I just want you to get in the intention of we are just vibrating on pitch, okay? So we're gonna mamo moo, but no, don't think sing. I literally want you to use your body in the exact same way that you just felt on that lip trill. So if you just did into your hands, now you're gonna go mamo moo into your hands, okay? So get present in the moment of your body. Connect mind and body. Witness, what am I feeling? What is going on? That witnessing is absolutely essential. You're learning how to do it in the meditations. Bring it into this moment now. Don't go on autopilot where you're like all like freaking out. How do I sound? How do I? Doesn't matter. Come back to the moment of your body. Direct yourself to use your body in the exact same way you did on the lip trills. Use the progression to set up how you're using your body. Practice the lean on a hiss. Then practice the lean on the lip trill. Then practice one mamo moo scale. Back to back. Hiss, lip trill, mamo moo. Okay? Thinking of this, even though you're changing pitches and you're doing the triad, this is not 3 separate things. Because if your body thinks it's 5 separate things, now all of a sudden you're going to use your support in 5 different ways, and you're going to go mamo moo, and you're going to like start to micromanage. And now we don't have that consistency anymore, okay? So visualize it like a violin, and it's one bow. You're not e, 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 e. No. Mamo moo, one bow. One send into your support, okay? And then don't forget to release the lean when you breathe for the next one, all right? So do a few of these, and I want you to bring your awareness to the moment in your body and ask yourself, let me check in. Let me get present. Where do I lose my lean? When do I lose my lean? Do I lose it at all? Do I feel like I'm collapsing? Like really start to get present and notice what you're doing, okay? So let's see how you're putting this into your body. Who would like to be a guinea pig to put some of these tools into play, into something that they're doing, so what I would like to hear is I would actually like to hear, I want to reverse engineer this a little bit. So instead of having you actually do the lip trill and the hiss and whatever, I actually want to hear like a phrase of a song and then what we're going to do is we're going to find a phrase of a song, and then we're going to see how this actually like plays into what is happening. Okay. So let's see, let me go and open my, my thing here so I can see you guys better. Okay. All right. So I saw Steve's hand. So Steve, And we have time, we have plenty of time, so we can get to a few of you. Okay. Hey, go ahead and unmute. You're muted still. There you go. Okay. Say something. Let me see if I can
Hi.
hear you. There, I hear you now. Okay. So let's just pick like a phrase of a song of something, like a phrase from a chorus of something you sing all the time that you know really well. What would that, like anything really, it doesn't matter.
They call you Lady Luck. Is that enough? Or you want
Yeah,
more?
just do, but there's no room. Do that bit, like the da 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 way of working out, like to go through that.
Uh, okay. Okay. They call you. Oh, from there. Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, you're
It's
good. They call you Lady Luck, but there's no room for doubt. Da 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 da. Very fine, da da
no,
da
no.
way. Let's do like
Okay.
that chunk. Okay.
They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out.
Okay, good. Okay. So now I want you to stand up. Go ahead and stand up and maybe to
You won't be able to see me. I disappear when I stand up because of, you know.
the virtual background. Are you
Yeah,
willing
I
to?
can stand, but see, I disappear.
Yeah, step back from your device. Go step back a couple of feet. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Can you take off the background? Because I really need you to stand for this.
Oh,
Don't worry, we won't judge you.
yeah, okay.
We don't care. We're all friends here. Whatever is in your background, it doesn't matter.
Let me see.
If you go to video and you click the arrow next to video, and then it says choose virtual background.
Yeah.
And so, guys, the reason that it's important that I want him to stand is because when you're learning this stuff with your support, it's easier and more helpful to stand to really feel how the body integrates than when we're sitting, because the way we use our body and our alignment is different when we sit. And so I always teach it standing first, and I want you to learn it standing first. And then once you get it there, then thank you. Then you could be doing cartwheels and you'll still know how to do it. Whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, it won't matter. Okay, thank you. So go ahead and stand up. And are you able to step back so we can see your face, or tilt the screen a little bit more so we can see?
Well, it's not a
Can you tilt?
laptop. Uh, if I
Can you
could
tilt the
stick,
camera?
I'm gonna stick something. I'm gonna stick the mouse under the computer and see if I can tilt.
Perfect. There you go. That's good. A little bit. No, that's too much. Keep good. Down a little bit more. Good. Now take one step back further. Awesome. Now if you can, oh, your camera is just zoomed. Did you guys see that? That's cool. Okay. Are you able to tilt the camera just a little more so I see a little bit more of you?
Tilted up?
No, down.
No,
Other
down.
way.
Down.
Yep. Perfect. Now take a step back.
Now,
Okay.
I can adjust the
No, you're
zoom.
good.
But you sure? Because what I can do is go down to the app
If you can zoom it out.
and let's see, I can
Yeah.
wait a minute. Oh, here it is.
Michael, you're funny. Michael's like definitely a Zoom meeting. That's funny. That's good. um,
This is weird.
okay,
Oh, wait
don't
a
worry
minute.
about it. I can see you enough. It's totally fine. It's totally
For
fine.
some reason I can't do it. I don't
Don't
know.
worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. I can
Okay.
see you enough. Okay, so now let's go back, and I want you to find a lip trill for a second. Okay, so
Find a what?
a lip trill. So we're gonna get you were about here. So I want you to do the lip trill here. Can you give me one of those?
Sometimes.
Okay. Okay. So right now, guys, right now, Steve is trying to make the lip trill here instead of focusing on your gas pedal, which is down here. Okay. So I want you to put your hands down here, like we just said. So find your lat, wrap around your back as much as you can. Yep. And then find your oblique with your other hand. Okay. Now, I want you to hiss into both hands. Yes. Do you feel, I can see you flex. Do you feel it like go into your hands instead of recede away and towards your spine? Do you feel it go that way?
No, actually.
Okay, do it again.
It's moving away from my hand.
Meaning it's going this way. You feel it?
Yeah,
Okay, let's,
yeah.
so,
I'm exhaling, so there's less air and it's getting smaller.
okay, that's exactly what I want you to resist. I don't want you to let it, I don't want you to let it get smaller. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yes.
will.
Can you describe that sensation?
Pardon me?
Can you describe that sensation?
Well, I've got to just have to think. I don't know if I can describe how it feels, except that it's pushing a little on my hand. I've got to think of keeping the ribs out.
Yeah, you got to think about that imaginary belt and not letting the belt fall down. Because if you collapse this, that belt is going to fall right down to your ankles, right? So keep it from falling down. Okay. So now I want you to hiss into that place and then back to back do a lip trill right after it. So you're going to go. Yes. Do you notice how you get a more functional lip trill?
Yeah.
It's not as tight, right? Yes. Okay. Now, that same feeling, I want you to bring to They Call Me Lady Luck. And don't worry about singing it or making it pretty. I just want you to recreate that feeling of the lip trill on that little phrase, okay? Hands there, same thing.
They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out.
Okay, good, good, good. Let's do the at times you have a very unladylike way. Let's do that phrase, okay? And I just want you to visualize the, like we were talking about, the single bow feeling of this. I feel like body wants to hit each note. At times you have, and that you're kind of hitting that with these instead of thinking like if you watch me, I'm not doing my support with every note. At times you have, I'm not doing that. At times you have a very unladylike way. It's one feeling. That's what you're doing when you do the lip trill. That's what I want you to bring here. You guys, this is the idea of don't change support when you change words, or don't change support when you change pitch. It's that one send, regardless of how many words you're doing or how high or whatever the pitch is going. Can you play with that? At times you have a, on that phrase? Okay, wait, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Did you notice how you breathed in and you're like... So find that. It's a very cyclical sensation. It's find the reflex on the inhale and then lean.
At times you have a very... No, I didn't do it.
Okay, wait. Why did you say that? What was it that made you think it wasn't doing it?
I don't know. I didn't hear legato.
Okay. So I think, and this is a very important discussion that I'm glad you're bringing up now, Steve. Do not listen for the sound of the good sound. Because number one, what it sounds like in your head is not what it sounds like out here. Right. You've all heard yourself on an answering machine, right? And you're like, oh, is that me? Like, right? Number two, you're used to an inefficient feeling. What you think is legato is not. And that's what you're used to. And so when it doesn't feel like that, you think it's wrong. But actually what you did just now was actually better. You weren't like, you know, like a bellows in a chimney or at a fireplace, you know what I'm saying? Like you weren't doing this on every note. And so, but I think you're used to that feeling and you think that that's legato, but it's not. So it's okay that it feels different. What I want you guys to do is not listen for the sound of the good sound. Instead, what I want you to get acquainted with is the feeling of the good sound. Because you can't trust what you hear in your head and you can't trust what you think about that right now because you're used to the habit. Okay. So connect back to this. And when I say good, yes, good. Okay. What did that feel like? Let me clock that. Okay. So find that consistency. You have a very unladylike way. Okay. Try it.
At times you have a very unladylike way of running out.
That to me had way more ease and way more consistency. I didn't feel like you were driving with the brakes on. And I, as the audience, didn't feel like I was thinking, oh God, is he going to make it? Like the
I
first
will
time I was a
practice
little like, oh God, is he going to make it? Just saying. But that I've like, you settled into a much more efficient use of your body. What did that feel like to you? What did you notice about that?
Well, just that I felt that I was doing what you had described. And it,
And what
you
is
know,
that feeling? Can you identify it to yourself? Because if you can say it back to me, you'll be able to find it again in your own practice. Is
well,
there an image or a sensation or a something?
that is in that my body feels larger rather than smaller from
Okay.
what I'm exhaling.
Okay. So for you, like that's the proverbial quarter that's going to get you the gumball. This is a saying that I use with my singers in our program all the time, which is what's the quarter that's getting you the gumball? So for you, that feeling of expand, 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 the bigness, and don't compromise that until I let the breath come in again. That's what got you there. So that's going to be the intention. So if you're practicing, Steve, whether it's lip trills, you know, like we're going to give you the MP3s and things that you guys can practice with from today, and you're not practicing that intention, then you're going to be in the habit. You're going to be in the old habit. And this is where the mind body connection becomes very, very important because that you practice, guys, doesn't matter. How you practice matters. And so if you're not practicing that intention, then you're not setting up the new muscle memory because you got to give yourself that intention. And you're going to have to cultivate that thought for a while before then you don't have to think it anymore. It's just what your body does. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. Well done.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
of course. All right, I see Jim's hand. All right, Jim. All right. So
There we go. I was
let's
unmuting.
It's okay. It's good to see you. Okay.
Hi.
So let's do same kind of thing. Let's pick a phrase from something and let's see how your breath is, you know, kind of manifesting in your body. And then let's see if we can use the tools to make it a little more efficient.
Do you want me? Sorry, I'm in the middle of packing, so who knows
That's
what
okay.
you'll see here. Is
Yeah,
this sufficient for your view?
Are you able to put your device up so you don't have to look down and I'm not looking up at you?
I mean, I can sort of look straight ahead as I sing if you'd prefer.
Okay, yeah, I just don't want. I would prefer to see you more straight on. Are you able to move
Okay.
your device and put it like on a shelf or on a dresser or something?
Okay. Yeah, probably. I hadn't planned for this impromptu
That's okay.
redecorating session.
We're
But
all friends here. We're all in this experiment together.
it's okay.
Okay,
This might end up.
is way
Let me just
better.
make sure we're steady here, and then I need to get my device so I have lyrics.
Yeah, cool. Oh
So
my
do you
God,
want me to
these
sing
new
a phrase
devices
that's?
have cameras that follow you. That's so cool. Okay,
Yeah. Would you like me to? Is this enough?
that's
What you're looking
perfect.
for? Okay.
Perfect.
Do you want me to sing a phrase that's I find challenging, or just are we just testing to see if I've got the support going?
It's all gonna show up in whatever you sing. It just might show up a
Okay.
little more egregiously if it's something challenging. So you're welcome to do something challenging.
Okay, I'll just pull from the coffers and go from there.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
just a couple bars. Just a couple bars is fine.
okay. Wait. A desert road from Vegas to nowhere.
Yeah, let's
Somewhere.
go a little more. Let's go a little further.
Okay. See, I'm trying to remember. I haven't sang this song for a long
It's
time.
okay.
Someplace better than where you've been. A coffee machine that needs some fixing. In a little cafe just around the bend.
Okay. All right. So was that the tricky part or was that just any part?
No.
Okay.
That wasn't the tricky
Can
part.
I hear the tricky part?
I have to Maybe. I don't know how tricky it is. I haven't sang that song in this key for a long time. I just thought you wanted to hear phrasing, so I just
I
picked
do,
that.
I do, but I also want to
Okay.
hear what you perceive as tricky versus what you perceive as cool.
Yeah. I don't know if this is tricky. We'll find out.
I mean, you could raise the key if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I'll just go for it and see what happens, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I am calling you.
Okay. I can see
That's-
exactly what's going on. Okay.
Okay.
So Jim is singing with about half the energetic instrument that he was given right now. And what I mean by that is, so we're talking about the idea of flexing down and out into the apojo. And Jim, you're singing from about here
Yep.
up. And you've got this whole other part of your body to
And I feel
ground
that.
the sound into. So here's where I'm going to talk about pelvic floor a little bit, okay? It's a little bit more advanced, but I think you guys are a little bit more experienced crews, so I think we can talk about this. Which is, so we talk about the container of support, which is ribs, abdomen, right? Those are the sides of the container. Pelvic floor is the bottom of the container. Pelvic floor, otherwise known as perineum, it is the muscle between the hump in the front and the hump in the back between your legs, right? Okay. Can you put your hands on your obliques and just to feel, use your palms.
I have to do it like this.
Use your palm.
Well, okay.
Yep. Okay. And I want you to, don't do anything with your obliques. Don't force them to do anything. Just want you to get acquainted with your pelvic floor. So first, what I want you to do is like you're bearing down, like you're having a bowel movement. And I want you to bear down on your pelvic floor. And I want you to feel what happens under your hands.
Let me just digest that for a second. Hang on.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, it's like nothing we can see on the outside. I can't see you doing it. It's an internal sensation. Okay. So just find your obliques and bear down on your pelvic floor like you're pushing out a number 2.
Okay.
Okay. What do you feel?
They pushed out. They pushed sort of out.
Right. They flexed. That is the flex. That is the engagement that we're talking about when we talk about flexing into the container of support. Okay. So now I just want you to feel where your pelvic floor can go. So that's flex, that's down. You can also draw your pelvic floor up towards your navel, like you're trying not to pee. And again, this is not something we can see on the outside. It's just an internal sensation. So, you're waiting in line and there's a long line.
Right. I got you.
Okay. So that's pulling up on the pelvic floor. And then before that was bearing down on the pelvic floor. When we sing, we want the down sensation. We don't want the up sensation because the down sensation engages all the muscles of support that we want and grounds the sound in the lower part of the body. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands back on your obliques. Okay. And are you comfortable with lip trills?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to do a lip trill from the bottom of your range all the way to the top of your range without going into falsetto. Okay, just as high as you can go without going into falsetto. And as you rise in pitch, I want you like an elevator to gently bear down on your pelvic floor, and you're not going to get to the bottom of that pelvic floor until you're at the top of your range. So you're going to, okay, and down into that flex as you rise. Go ahead. Yes. Okay. What did that feel like as you were doing the lip trill in your body?
Well, I'm not 100%. I had everything gauged incorrectly. I personally feel like there's a lot to sort of keep track of, and that's okay, right? I need to get used to all of those things, right? And
so for now,
yeah.
I just want you to set your intention to focus on pelvic floor for now. I know I gave you a lot of plates to spin a minute ago, but we're going to do it now on a hey, H-E-Y, hey, and you're going to siren on hey all the way up. Hey! All the way as high as you can go without going into falsetto. And your only focus right now is to feel the pelvic floor down so you feel that flex, okay? Can you try it?
Look out, neighbors. Here we go. Okay.
Hey, forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
It ain't late. It's early.
They're loud. They're loud too. I don't care. All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes. What did that feel like? What did you notice about how you were using your body to create that?
I was focusing too much on my like larynx position to making sure I went into my head voice correctly.
Okay. Don't worry about that.
Distraction. Sorry. All
That's
right.
okay. But let's do it one more time. And this
All
time,
right.
let's just go as high as you can go in chest voice. Don't even worry about going into head.
Okay.
Okay. So what does it feel like to phonate with that down, lowering pelvic floor sensation?
It feels more connected, right?
Okay.
It feels, I guess, more supportive. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be
Okay.
a fair
So
word to use.
what I want you to do is I want you to do the chorus now, of like the higher part, the section that we just did a minute ago of the song, the higher part. And as you go through each phrase, I want you to gently be lowering your pelvic floor each phrase. And then you breathe and it resets. And then you gently lower it just like you did on that siren there. Okay? You play with that?
And did you just want that chorus part? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the high part that you did when
Yeah,
I asked
okay.
you about the high. Yeah.
Yep.
That part.
Okay. How was
Yep.
that?
Do it. Take it. Do me a favor. Take a step closer to your device, and let's do it one more time. It's good.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now you're doing a good job of getting lower and getting more down. Okay. But there's one part of your body that doesn't quite trust this new lower integrated stability. Any idea what it
I
is?
believe it.
Any idea
Let's
what
see.
it is?
Probably my brain.
Physical part, like
Oh, okay.
muscular part.
Well, I'm not for sure. I've got a few guesses. It might be my throat, but I tend to
Yeah.
overdrive with my
No,
jaw.
it's your neck.
But
It's your neck.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And this is how I know this, which is that as farther as he got along in the phrase, I started to see his a little bit of the veins pop out and the neck lock. So you're gonna do it. You're gonna do the phrase again. Okay. Same thing, sending it down just like you did, but this time
Okay.
I want you to move your head, and you're gonna gently look from side to side. And here's why we're doing this, you guys, because that has been his security blanket. Because odds are he's been singing from here up without fully accessing the rest of the support, and that's not enough support. So his neck is coming in to be like, dude, I got you, I'll support you, and it wants to grab. Now that you're doing this doesn't trust it yet. It doesn't trust it yet because it's new. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna disable the security blanket, because if you're moving, you can't lock your neck. You literally can't. So looking over one shoulder and then gently looking over the other, and you're going to start to move first. And then as you're moving, then you're going to engage your support, and then you're going to sing the phrase. Okay? Try it. So start moving first.
Okay.
So gently looking from side to side. You can do it. And when you're ready, engage that pelvic floor and do the phrase.
And
That's what I'm talking about. That was much more connected. That was much more free. It was much more like consistently aligned, and you didn't have to do anything here to get it. What did that feel like?
I took an extra breath that
That's
time,
okay.
which helped. So, well, I think that was kind of my down. I mean, certainly think that all of what you just said is the bigger part of what's happening. But what also helped me keep that engaged was taking that breath where I did.
Okay, so planning.
I think
it's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what's the big distinction for you? How are you going to find this again in your own practice?
Well, for one thing, I'm comfortable with the visual that you've sort of, in terms of pushing out to the side. For whatever reason, that registers with me as opposed to the others that I've had, and it makes me consider what's happening differently. So I'm going to start incorporating for sure
Yeah.
that visual.
And making sure that that feeling of that leaning out and down is that it doesn't stop here. It's like
Right.
all the way out and down through your knees and through your hips and through your feet to engage the grounding in the rest of the body. Yeah.
And when I'm not doing this to check tension, I'll be doing this.
Yeah. Because what this
I've
does
got a
is
bunch of things.
what this does is it creates trust, guys. Trust in the lower support that, oh, I don't have to lock here. And not only does it sound better, it feels better. Cool.
Well, I want you just for your own, for whatever, this is worth, I want you to know that's exactly what's been happening. And part of it is a self-conscious thing about my weight and holding my belly in when I walk around, and I've done that for years. And so it's just, there's a lot of muscle memory that needs to let go there, and I have been working on it, but you're absolutely correct. I've been singing from there up, and so that's priceless.
Also, guys, like he's identified something that's important as a mindset thing. Remember how I said yesterday that the body cannot do what the brain is sabotaging. And so if the brain, and remember I also said 99% of what is sabotaging you guys in the mindset is stuff that doesn't have anything to do with singing. That's 100% affecting the singing. And so what you just identified in terms of, being self-conscious about weight. I mean, how many of you in here are subconscious about your weight? Like, you're not alone in that, right? But the more that the mind fixates on that is it stops you from being able to use your body in the way that you need to make
absolutely.
And so again, the mindset piece is like super important, and just celebrating you for being willing to just trust yourself and trust me and just let that go and see what happens. And that's like, that is a much more impressive sound, like by far. All right.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So we got time for maybe one more quick check-in. I see that Celeste has her hand raised. If you're still there, Celeste, I don't know. Go ahead and unmute.
Unmute.
Hey.
Hello.
Okay. So same thing. So let's just pick a piece in a song and let's see how this is coming together.
Should I put my hands anywhere here, or what should I do?
If it's helping you to feel what's going on and to feel, you can absolutely do that.
Okay. At last, my love has come along.
Okay. I see immediately what needs to happen, like immediately. Okay. Which is that you want to kick your support and give it all on the very first note, on the very beginning of the phrase, okay? So I'm going to invite you to sit into your support like you're getting into a nice hot tub instead of needing to like prove and whack it and like, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like your body knows how to do this. You guys, your body knows how to make resonant sound. Think of a baby can cry at the top of their lungs for hours on end, never get hoarse, never get tired. It's so present and resonant. And it's because they don't have thoughts going on in their head that they need to prove something or get it right or whatever the, monkey mind is telling us. So come back to the moment of your body and see if you can just allow yourself. I'm going to invite you, Celeste, dare you, if I may, to make a bad sound. And instead, not need to like force it, but let yourself have the experience of give yourself permission to make a bad sound, but focus on that idea of just sitting into the support and not needing to like whack it and prove it, okay? At the beginning of each phrase. Try it. Relax your arms. Relax your arms. Relax your arms. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
At last, my love has come along.
Keep going. And as you keep going, what I want you to be present to. So first of all, that was better and not like needing to like force it and whack it and just kind of feeling the sweet spot of it. I want you to do it again and maybe do a couple more phrases and focus on your inhale and finding that sensation of like really nice, just like luxuriate in that nice expansive rib cage on that inhale, and then singing into that expansive rib cage as you do the phrases. Let's try it.
Okay. At last, my love has come along. My Lord.
Don't rush that breath. Don't rush that breath. Okay? Did you notice how the first one, because you had time, because it was the beginning of the song, it was nice and open, and it was, but then in between we got a little bit of the, And that was right. And that's, but body is like, oh, I have less time. I got to pull my air in. I got to take the breath. And then you contracted to do it. And then we got the sound of the wind resistance. So for now, while you're training your body to release on these breaths, and you're doing it a cappella anyway, so you have the luxury, do the breaths out of tempo. Take time on the breath for right now to give your body that experience and the time it needs to release. So you're conditioning that release instead of conditioning the old grab it habit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But that was way better on the first one.
Good. I'm glad. At least there's improvement. All right.
So
At last, my love has come along.
give yourself time.
My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. Oh,
Did you feel that? Did you feel the habit on that one? Did you feel the habit on that one right before? And
yeah, I did it again. Yeah, I took that breath.
But you guys, this is a mindset thing. It's not that her body doesn't know how to do it. Celeste, your body, when you give it time, it knows how to release on that inhale. It's a mindset thing. It's like, oh, the tempo's going. They're waiting for me. It's like, I better breathe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you don't have an accompaniment right now, right? So just allow for that. You get to take up time and space. You get to be in a place where you're the one calling the shots about what your body needs to reset these habits. Okay? And what's going to happen is, because when you didn't and you grabbed in that breath, it was a little flat on top because you were starting with tension. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's isolate that phrase for a second and give yourself that time, and you're just going to go, and life is like, or I think I'm in the wrong key, but you know where you are. Give yourself that time, okay? And then as you do the phrase, same thing that I was talking about, which is that single gentle increase over the course of the phrase towards the end of the phrase, not towards the high note, towards the end of the phrase. The high note is not the point. The other thing you did is that as you approached it, you kind of got there and then it was like, cool, I'm here, I got it. And then like you let go a little bit. Yeah.
Then put it away.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So give yourself time for that release. And then when you're in your support, just follow that create that steady wave, that steady current. Okay. One more time.
At last, my love has come along.
Give yourself time.
My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. Oh, yeah.
There you go. You go.
You
guys, what did I say at the beginning? Pitch problems are almost always breath support problems. She doesn't have a pitch problem. When she gave herself time for the inhale, so she wasn't, number one, starting it from a place of tension, and number two, was consistent about moving through her support over the whole phrase, pitch took care of itself. Well done. Okay, so what was the distinction for you? What did that feel like in your body just now when you did that? What'd you notice?
Like floating down a river. It felt very smooth and just kind of like unhindered, like without being the choppiness. I guess like instead of being white river rafting, more like a smooth leaf flowing down the river. And I know that sometimes, like, because I get into like really gritty, powerful notes too. So sometimes people like kind of being a little bit shocked by what you come out with. But so I think sometimes I go to punch something too hard because I'm like, take this, like, I mean, you're expecting sultry or sexy or whatever. And then like, look, I have power. And so sometimes I feel like I'm trying to show off power, and that's like having a white river rafting. And then like, you're breathing, you don't know what's around the next turn. And then suddenly you get into a part of the journey that doesn't feel natural any longer because you suddenly decided to derail the joyride of the gentle stream. Right.
But I also want to invite you to kind of reflect back on what you were just saying, if I can mirror it back to you, which is that even when you're being powerful, it can feel like a steady stream. And when we have that mindset, whether you intend it to or not, of, look, I can be powerful.
Yeah.
You see, this is like, look, I'm good. I am versatile. I can do all that. It's that provey energy. And I guarantee you that the the punching that you feel that you need is actually diminishing the potential of the power that you could have when you allow yourself to not need to prove that. Look how much power I can have. Like, like you are way more powerful. Every single one of you are way more powerful than you give yourself credit for. And it's all the old conditioned thinking from, you know, parents and old schools and old teachers and religion and society and social groups and blah blah blah, which has convinced us in our own specific ways that we're not that powerful. We couldn't be that powerful. And then we feel like we need to, and even in this way, like I know you didn't mean to like say it that way, but it shows us like what goes on in the mind, which is like, look how look, I can be powerful. Okay. You know, like it there is
Well, yeah, and I think I do that because of like, you know, like you're saying, cultural stuff, like being a woman, like you're not just soft and sexy and sultry, but I'm also powerful. And I do feel like that does show up sometimes in the singing. And yeah, just because, you know, you're
right.
trying to
And
show
so
off, I can do other genres. I'm not just this one way that you might have heard me.
that need to show and that need to prove I'm not just this, I'm not just that. And in all of that, rather than it's like I used to have a voice teacher used to say to me, don't show me your beautiful voice. Just be with your sound. And that's a really
Thank you.
important, you know, distinction because you have a beautiful voice, but we get less of it when you're trying to show us your beautiful sound rather than
Yeah.
just being with your sound.
Just
Yeah.
be one
And
with it.
right, the difference between doing and being, the difference between proving and allowing. Like you have the tools. Most of you have the tools. Some of you need some, you know, tweaks in the technique to be able to help them come forth. But when we're not addressing the mind, the way the mindset plays into that kind of stuff, right? You were whacking your support because of a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And so in if I don't address that with any singer, and y'all have it, we all do. Like she's not the only one, right? Like if I don't address that, then even though you understand intellectually what I'm talking to you about technically, your body's not going to do it because you don't understand why you're doing it, you know? So I think this is like, first of all, celebrating you for like, you know, the awareness that you have, be willing to share it, and being vulnerable enough to just be willing to make a bad sound and see if you get a different outcome. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I know we've gone over today. I just want to remind you. So there's homework for tonight, okay, which is the link where you can find the homework. Ashley's going to put it in the chat. This is MP3s that you can practice with for doing the lip trills and for doing the mamo moos that we were doing, the mamo moo that I gave a little bit earlier in the training. Like I said before, it's really important. Like that you practice doesn't matter. How you practice does. Practice the how, not the what. Like what I was saying, what's the, you know, the quarter that gives you the gumball. How Steve was doing that was the difference. Not that he does the lip trill, doesn't matter. How he does it matters, okay? So practice the how, not the what. A reminder, don't listen to yourself like I was talking about earlier. Feel yourself, right? And so tomorrow we're gonna build on this some more. Right now you've got half the equation, that stability that enables maximum impact. It's like if you think about it like a boat, right? The anchor stabilizes the boat, but that's not the only thing. You also need your sail. So tomorrow I'm going to give you the other half of the equation that's really going to allow you to tap into the maximum impact of your sound because you're going to have a technique that allows that to happen. And we're going to talk about the rocket fuel for getting consistent high-level performance impact out of your technique. And that is the idea of energetic sound direction. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. This is the rocket fuel for consistency. This is the ammunition that taps you into the maximum potential of your sound in a consistent, reliable way. You know, you have a better understanding now with these tools for rock solid support, but again, it's not enough. We're talking about breaking through to elite levels of performance and pay and opportunities. So you need the rest. And so don't miss tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. Celebrating you all for showing up and sticking with us and being nice and coachable and supportive in the chat. Go rock the rest of your afternoon or evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.